This video covers two ways on how to access the Superset databases. This also assumes that you have the Docker containers running. In the instructions, it says to run the command docker compose up after downloading the Docker Apache Superset repo. If you cd into the Superset directory after downloading the repo, you can run docker compose up and it will download and build these Docker containers for you. And it will start these running, and you can validate that by going to address localhost 8088, and you can log in with the password and username of admin. So username is admin and password is admin. And that should log you in, and you should be able to validate that installation. So once you have that and you stop the Docker Compose Up container just by hitting Control-C twice, you'll get these built Docker containers in the stopped state. And so you'll be able to reuse these Docker containers without rebuilding by hitting run. And you can start all these Docker containers. Now, the normal state of these Docker containers when they're running is the init container will be exited. Everything else will be running. So what we're going to cover is how to access the database where you have to get access to the data for debugging. And that includes the example databases, the test databases, which are created after the initialization procedure by running test commands. And so the easiest way to do that, or one way to do that, is to click on the container and just hit exec. And so if you hit exec, you'll get access to the Linux operating system inside the Docker container. And you can run psql. Do I have that? You can run psql. I don't remember the command to get out of here. You can run psql-u, which is the username, Superset. And that'll connect you to the database CLI tool where you'll be able to query the tables. And so that's one way. And so these tables here, examples, Postgres, Superset, and template were created by the Superset source code. And then if you run the test command, which we'll cover in a separate video, you'll get the test database. The test database isn't created on installation. So just a quick note, make sure you use user Superset. A lot of the documentation will say to use Postgres, and those come from other sources. And I don't know if there were some legacy issues there, but Postgres won't work. That's the first way. So the second way to connect is to use the pgadmin tool, which is a better user interface. And you can install this for your operating system. And so the first thing you have to do is to be able to connect to the server. And so one of the tricky parts is that when you say new server, you'll be able to say new server, what the connection looks like. And you'll be able to get the connection. Let me get out of here. Here, dashboard. So if you say add new server, where do you get this name? And so it turns out that this name can be either the name or the IP address or the connection string. So to get that, what we're going to do is we're going to go use Docker inspect. So first, let's get the Docker container names by using Docker PS. And Docker PS will list the container ID names, and we're interested in which one, the database. So let's use Superset database. Let's query that by using Docker inspect. Oh, let's get the here. I don't know if the name will work. Let's use a container ID. So you'll get a bunch of different properties of this JSON object that can be used as a name. And so there is a name here called /supersetDB. But you also have from the Docker PS command, you can also tell that the address here is what? Is 127.0.0.1.54.32. So it turns out you can use the address also instead of futzing with a name. So this turns out to be 127.0.0.1. And the username is Superset. And the password is Superset. And let's change this name so I don't get confused. Okay, so to test if this is connected correctly, let's go look at the databases and the tables in the databases. So it looks like it's found these 4 databases, which is what we found earlier when we used the Docker command. And so the data should be in examples. Tables are under schema. So let's do a select to see if we can get anything. So BART lines, let's do a query. You can look at the columns. Here, let's look at this. Select the table. Where's query? Query tool. Select star from BART lines. Now let's run it. Okay, so we see that we have the valid data out of BART lines. Okay, so I'm going to end this video now. And we'll